is an indicator used in technical analysis, as we all know, like other indicators. But this indicator, I find it interesting because it's a collection of indicators, like more than one indicator in a single indicator. And basically, the indicator has several parts. And this part shows us or tells us different things about how it affects the particular coin that we want to analyze. Now, the Ichimoku cloud tells us about the momentum, the trend direction, where the support and the resistance lies. So it does this by taking multiple of averages and plotting it on the chart. So it provides like more data than the normal candlesticks that we all know. Now on my screen, you can see that it's just looking like a very, very like a very scattered pattern that you cannot even make any sense of. So I'll just quickly close the candlestick. Okay, so that I can explain the pattern of the Ichimoku cloud properly. Sorry, please. I'm trying to.
Do you know why we're having this difficulty now?
It's because of my phone.
Because you all refuse to do the right thing. At the beginning of this class, I told you that you are not required to be an analyst by using phone.
But I don't have the Telegram on my computer.
I already showed you guys how to do TradingView on your system. I personally am using my Telegram on my laptop. That is why I'm able to share my screen on my laptop. For you guys to do the right thing, and it's costing us time now. If you were using your laptop, you would have done whatever you were doing neatly without any stress. Is how many of us in the class here do not own a laptop or have access to a computer or a laptop? Anybody?
I don't have system. Talk now. Go buy me system. They jealous.
Anybody?
Talk now.
So I assume we all have laptops or access to any desktop or laptop.
How do you get plans to buy?
From tomorrow, please, every analysis you make in the class, you have to just do.
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Can I just suggest something to that? I just use the LRC coin to explain to us the function of the Ichimoku cloud, so that you don't stress yourself. Just use the LRC coin as it's going, especially that the current candle now. Just use it to explain to us how it works. What is telling about the coin? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So as I was saying, I was trying to explain the Ichimoku cloud. Sorry for the little inconvenience. So, like the LRC cloud, the LRC coin, currently, if you look at it, the last candle, the green candle, is just below the Ichimoku cloud. And there's a rule guiding this Ichimoku cloud when you're using the cloud. If the candles are below the cloud, the candles are below the cloud, you cannot enter a long position. And it signifies that that the coin or the asset is bearish. But there are other components that you are supposed to be looking out for. Like if you look at my right hand side, there's something that looks like red. That's the cloud. And if you look at the left hand side, there's something that looks like green. That's the cloud. Then the LRC coin, the last candle is just between the red and the green. Now, this red is the cloud. This green is the cloud. Then this green line is what they call the span A. And the red one that looks like a pink is what they call the span B. So when the candles are forming under the cloud, you are not allowed to take any long trade because it signifies that there's a bearish momentum at that particular time. But if the candles were to be above, hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes. So, but if the candles should be above the cloud, then that means you are allowed to take a long trade, or you are allowed to take a long position. But then, if you look inside just below beneath the cloud, you see there's a red and a blue mark, like something moving, like a crawling, just like how the cloud look like. I don't know if you can see it. There's a red one and a very bright blue. Those serve they are like moving averages. They are like moving averages. The red one is what they call the Kunjun sin. It's like the 26 moving average. It's quite slow. Just like how we have our moving averages, but this one is very, very slow. While the blue one is the first one, and it's the 9-period moving average. These two also, they have a very significant role that they play. Like anytime, and they serve as signals to us. Anytime you see the blue crossing over to the red, that means that signifies a downward trend and a buying opportunity to short. Once you see the 26-period moving average, which is the blue, the bright blue, crossing the red, it signifies that there's a downward trend, and it signifies a shorting. You can short it when you are doing futures, an opportunity, a shorting opportunity. But once the blue goes over to the red, that means it also signifies a buying opportunity or a longing opportunity. Now, this LRC coin, if you notice, the blue and the red are at a meeting point. And the blue, let me remove the candle so that you see what I'm talking about. Now, if you look at it, the blue and the red are at a meeting point, as if the blue wants to overtake the red. That is why you see that LRC coin is pumping. It's pumping. And you can easily take, when the blue finally crosses over to this red, which is the 9-period moving average. The 9-period moving average, which is the blue, crosses over to the red, which is the 26-period moving average. That means you have a longing opportunity. But mind you, no matter what the moving averages are doing, they respect whatever the cloud the cloud above them. Because as I said earlier on, the cloud shows us where the support and the resistance are. So LRT was having a major, was just mooning because of this particular blue line, which I had said severally that is the 9-period moving average, trying to cross over the red line, which is the 26-period moving average. That's why the LRC coin was mooning. So you can easily take a long position. You can easily take a long position in this wise. But mind you, you will also be looking out for where this cloud now is going to serve as a resistance to it. If it breaks above this cloud, then we'll have an upward trend. And then there's another rule that you have to bear in mind. Anytime you see any of the candlesticks within the cloud, this red part and this green part, that means you are not allowed to take any trade. Because at that time, the market is ranging, or as we say, the market is in a consolidating phase. So you are not allowed to take any trade at that time. You're not allowed to take any trade at that time. So, and you will notice that if you take a look at it very, very well, during, or maybe another coin, or maybe you can analyze it on your own after this time, during an upward trend, you see that the cloud will be moving.
You have 2 minutes to round up.
Okay, the cloud will be moving, and okay, sir. During an upward trend, the clouds will be moving upward, but in a downward trend, the clouds will be moving downward. I have so many things to say, but I think with this summary, I think it's okay. But that is why this LRC is having just a temporary push-up, but it's still bearish, because if you look at the cloud, the cloud by your right-hand side, you will notice that it's red inside. And that is what is telling us that it is still bearish. But if it were bullish and then the candles are above this cloud, it will turn green, and then it signifies that it is bullish. That's just a simple explanation about the Ichimoku cloud. Thank you.
So what is your analysis?
That's why I just the analysis I just made by using this cloud. And I said the analysis is that because this blue something that looks like a snake or something is the 9-period moving average, and is the fastest one. It moves above the red. That is why the LRC coin is moving, but it is just temporary. The movement is just temporary, sir. It doesn't signify anything like so serious. It's temporary because it's still bearish. It's still below the cloud.
Am I supposed to buy or sell?
At this period, at this time,
Yes.
At this time, sir, even if you buy, you're going to be taking a short position because it's still bearish. It will still drop. It will still drop. But if you can catch when the blue was when the blue has already given you that signal when it's crossed, you can enter a long position, but it's temporary. It's going to just be temporary because it will still drop. That's my analysis, sir. Thank you.
Any objection? Mommy.
I don't have any objection, no, but I just want to ask a question. Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
I hear you. Okay, so the last candle, yeah, you already said it's below the cloud. But I want to ask, how do we know? Because if you watch the third candle, or like if you count backwards, the third one, it got rejected at the cloud. So like it entered inside, and then it's a rejection candle. But I want to ask, how do we know when this, let's say if I want to catch it at the top price, how do I know when the candle has gotten to the major resistance? Do I wait for the price to get to that the red span B? Do I wait for it to get to span B before I take a short position, or should I wait for the candle to close? Or I don't know if you get my question, Nana.
Yeah.
So
You,
how do
that's
I
I said, that's
the
part
right
B.
point?
That's those lines at the edge of the cloud serve as a resistance. So if it breaks above it, but it's inside the cloud, as long as it does not move out of the cloud, you can only take a short position because it's still bearish.
I know. So like let's assume
So
that
if you are yes,
I'm already assuming
nice.
from what the Ichimoku cloud is telling me, like the cloud after the current candle is showing me that we have a bearish future candles coming. So let's assume that I already said, okay, this is bearish, it's going to turn bearish. Now, how do I know where to take the best position currently on this candle? Does it have to touch that span B before? I don't know if you get my question. Okay, like it's about to touch it now. Are you seeing it? The price is getting to, it has touched it. So should I take it now because I know that it's going to be rejected here? Or in fact, let me go and take position. Okay, continue.
So maybe you should give us more. Yes, we can hear you. Maybe you should give us more clarification on that because
I think
if I were to answer. If I were to answer, definitely, if the best position I was going to take if I were the one was when it touches that span B, I'm going to take my position there because I know it's still bearish. And not until it has broken above the cloud, I know we're still in a bearish momentum. So I can take my position at that edge. But I don't know if both has a contrary view.
My view on the matter is that you went too forward. You're still not. I don't think you're still equipped yet to make analysis with Ichimoku cloud. Not talk of using those IQ span and all those stuff. Basically, when I use Ichimoku cloud, I just use it there are 5 things I use it for. First, to know the direction of the market when I'm doing a big trade. If I'm to buy Solana for the bull run, I have no business with Ichimoku cloud except in one of the strategies where we use it to determine entry points. But if I'm scalping blueprint and futures, just like you all have been doing, and all of you took positions, when I asked, everybody kept quiet. If I'm to take a position when I'm trading midday, intraday trading, I will use Ichimoku cloud with MACD to tell me where to place my attention. So Miss Nana, you are trying, but still, just like I told you, the week is all you need to give to move it down to understand it. And understand it in 2 or 3 days. Any day you are tired, close, go to bed, wake up the next day, and start all over. The Jimoku cloud is an advanced technique. The indicator that advanced technical analysis is. But for just to simplify it, I'm going to share my screen and just show you guys a few things. As for the blueprint, using a Jimoku cloud to make the analysis, you are just bearish. Why I just told you that you're still not equipped to use the Jimoku cloud is that for you to understand how those 9 moving average and the other one works in determining entries and other stuff, it will be too confusing for you. So when you're using the Jimoku cloud, just be only concerned with just the cloud for now.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
If you need moving averages or probably an analysis using moving averages, you plot your moving averages yourself. So these ones were created for a reason, not for what you're explaining. I mean, the explanation is not exactly what you were created for. Jimoku cloud does not give you entries. It only gives you directions, support, resistance, and zones. Just like she said, there is a no trade zone with Jimoku cloud. And that is when the price, the candles fall inside any of the cloud. While it's inside the cloud, it's a no trade zone, but still, we still have support and resistance all at the borders of that cloud, both green and red. The lower ones are support, the upper ones are resistance. So most times when you find the candles stuck inside the Jimoku cloud, it takes time to come out. That is when the market is ranging. These are where you come to see a few things that you didn't know about the market. You can tell when the market is ranging when you find the candles inside the Jimoku cloud. Means it will just be testing up, down, until it's able to break out or break down away from that candle. So I'll share my screen now so that I'll show you guys a few things about Jimoku cloud. Even though it is not about because since you're already here, everybody should welcome it. Let's see if we can just learn it once and for all.
Well, sir, can I ask a question before we go ahead?
Alright, go ahead. You have just 30 seconds.
Because Miss Chidima was just saying something that since the border of the clouds are like support and resistance, after support and resistance, now this last candle that is already forming that I want to touch, can we take a position at that top, or should we wait till when the candle has closed for that day?
It will be safer if we wait for this candle to close. But the trick is that where or when it closes will also determine what will happen next. You don't expect a candle like this, of this height, to close like this and then you go and short tomorrow morning. A candle like this, if it closes with this height, it will burst away tomorrow morning. Like it will just blow, it will explode. Because the next candle will use the shoulder of this candle to build support next to the Jimoku cloud. And by the time it tests 1, 2, 3, it will break. So it depends on how today ends. It's not just about if it closes like this, you have to wait and see what happens first tomorrow, the early hours of tomorrow, before thinking of taking position. If it ends up going down, if form one of those kind of spinning top or those stone or United Hammer. Then tomorrow we might still have a little range around this cloud. Probably next tomorrow will be when it break downwards. When it touches the cloud again, it will break downwards. Okay, now I'll share my screen so that you guys can see what I'm doing. You can see my screen, please. You can see my screen, right? Anyone here? Anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. We can see your screen.
Yeah, you saw. You know, if you look at this thing, you see that LRC is just kissed more of the football, and he's been trying to break its LRC like if you have the momentum is high on the outside, but a wall of the geometric cloud, just like I told you that a few days back, one of the strongest supports and resistance. So you can see how it got rejected exactly to the wall. But the strategy I use for a geometric cloud, okay, you're not seeing any of those value fan, IQ span and all those stuff. But because those ones are more confusing. What I use this to be is there is a strategy in using the multiplier and MACD that says that for every time you see this MACD on a 4-hour chart, anytime you see MACD on a 4-hour chart, cross like this upward. Anytime you see the MACD cross the signal upward, usually it shows like a bullish momentum. Whenever you see on your 4-hour chart, when you see this thing crossover like this, you mark that exact point on your handle, just after your handle. Then this is 1 day. So in fact, let's go to 4 hours. So I'll just use iPhone.
Whenever it's crossing on top, I notice that the thing used to pop. Whenever it's coming down, I notice that the thing used to pop.
So let's use this. There's a place here where you had a divergence, right? Whenever you see on the power chart the market crossover like this, you mark that particular point on your handle. Just put a mark, just use a pen or something, and put a mark there. Then you start your time frame to 1 hour. So this is the mark I made. Sorry. this is the mark I made. So somewhere here we had Maggie crossing over somewhere here. So when you plot your Jimoku cloud on that place where you had your Maggie crossing, if you find it to be somewhere directly on top of the Jimoku cloud, like let's say this mark happens to be somewhere directly on top of the Jimoku cloud, it's just the to just enter because it's going to print red. It's going to print green. This one didn't completely print green, but for every time that you see Maggie crossing and you find that exact spot being on top of the 1 hour Jimoku cloud, remember the Maggie is 4 hours, not 1 hour. If you see your Maggie crossing, the Maggie crossing the signal on the 4 hour chart, take a mark and mark that place on the 4 hour chart. Let me do it again. Let's look for another one. Let's change that to 4 hours. The first thing is Maggie, right? So I'm looking for a place where we have a twist. Okay, let's use it. Okay, this one is very nice. Okay, let's make it. Okay, let's use this. So on this 4 hour chart, we have a cross somewhere. This cross now, I'm going to mark the cross on the handle. The exact place where it's twisted, mark it on the handle. So what I'm going to do now is, since I now have the mark on the handle, I'm just going to check to see if at this particular place, at this particular junction, where it's crossed over, if on a 1 hour chart, it is laying directly on top of the Jimoku cloud. So I'm going to now change my time back to 1 hour. So let me look for it. Okay. Let me do that because I still want to do. Let me see this thing again. Maybe there's two. Okay, now watch closely. Everybody just watch closely. Then try something. So this is Phantom 4 hours, right? They had a Maggie crossing here, just not far away from where we are. They had a Maggie crossing somewhere here. So I'm going to mark this here. I'll bring in my Jimoku cloud now. So I'm bringing it in, I'm doing straight to 1 hour to see if this particular place lies just directly above the Jimoku cloud on the 1 hour. Yeah. So I'm going to just turn this to, I know you guys are not seeing. So this is the mark. So this is the mark. This is the mark. So I'm going to change my time frame to 1 hour. So as you can see, it still lies under the Chimoku cloud. But just few steps away, it broke out. So I wouldn't take this position knowing that it's coming to break out. I will take this position the moment it comes on top of the Chimoku cloud. That's why you're seeing this massive run today. If you took the position directly to immediately close the hole, at least you must have gotten like 12% move for today. Or I don't know if it's today. Yeah, today. Did anybody understand it?
Yes, sir.
If you understand
Yes,
it,
sir. Yes, sir.
so your signal is the moment you now have to be close above the Chimoku cloud. If at that point of divergence, you check it on the 1 hour chart and find it directly on top of the Chimoku cloud, 1 hour in Chimoku cloud, it's a signal, like it's enter, it's a signal. But don't forget that the signal can fail. But the success rate of this is about 60%. When you mark the divergent value, the divergence on your candle, when you mark it on the candle, it is where the market crosses over the signal. You mark it on your candle to just know which candle was that. Now, you change your time to 1 hour. What you're looking out for now is to see if around that candle, like the marks where you had a divergence, the market, if it falls directly on top of the 1 hour cloud, doesn't matter if it's a green or red cloud. If you do, it's a signal. It happens to still be inside the cloud or under the cloud. You only have your signal the moment you have a close above the cloud, which most times come. You think most times it will come once you see your 4 hour market crossing. Just know that there is going to be a small push up, even though if it's not a bull, like a bull or a long uptrend. Or you're going to have a push up. So this kind of strategy is meant for trading traders, and you only use this to find entry for not a long, like a very long hold, because even as it pushes up, it can still come back to the test. But the thing is that you're definitely going to have a push up the moment you have a close of the cloud. So that is a strategy you can always depend on. If you can master it, don't be consider and trade it yourself. But things like this, don't go and trade it to pictures and things. Once it's a signal that don't really exceed the boundaries. Before you see it, I have worked on that signal for hours. It's nothing to do with nothing to do with using it to camera. Because once I camera, it's still a second work that I've done before I can camera. This thing is worth me wasting 50 minutes. Is there any question? Any question?